Peace, it's Equality Fragrances coming to you from Prince George's County, Maryland. Welcome to my cipher. A cipher is a person, place, a thing within my circumference. The understanding of my cipher is peace. For all those new to the channel and those who have been supporting me since day one, I humbly appreciate all of your support. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you'll be notified when I drop some new videos. Share the video with anybody you think may find my content useful for them in their fragrance journey. With that being said, come on in, sit down, and let's build. Today's video will be on fragrances that will have you smelling deliciously irresistible. Now, y'all already know I always say that fragrance is about situations and it's about moods. How are you feeling? What's the situation? Know the room that you are going into. Read the room. Now, these fragrances are going to be gourmand, delicious fragrance. For somebody who just may have came across my video, don't know what a gourmand fragrance is, it's basically gourmet. It's a fragrance that's going to smell edible. It's going to be your foodie fragrances. So it could be your vanillas, your chocolates, and some of your fruity fragrances, depending on the way the composition is built around those fruits. So these are going to be those fragrances. So they're going to be gourmand fragrances. Now, when and what situation or what kind of mood would I be in when I choose these fragrances? Now, I'm speaking from me as a man and me as an individual or a person. I'm not wearing any of these fragrances. Let me look at it. Maybe with the exception of one, and I'll tell you which one that is when we get to it, on a first date. These will be fragrances that I will typically wear during the holidays. It'll be fragrances I would wear when I'm going on a date with somebody who I already have an established relationship, like third, fourth, fifth date. She's my wife, my girlfriend, somebody I'm in an established relationship with, and or mood, I feel like we may be getting intimate. It's going to be a lot of closeness within this time spent together. I'm probably going to reach for these fragrances. Some of them perform and push out a little bit better than others, some don't. Anyway, that's just how I see it. So we're going to be discussing these 10 fragrances with 2 honorable mentions. Let's start the show. Honorable mention number 1 is an outstanding fragrance. Remember, this is just the mood and the classification. These fragrances aren't ranked based by what I like the most. It's what I like the most for that particular situation and or mood. And honorable mention number 1 comes from the House of Royal Crown, and it's probably the most expensive fragrance in this list, and that's Sultan. Beautiful. This, now I'm going to eventually do a video on most comforting fragrances. This would be easily within the top 3, if not number 1 in that fragrance category or that mood category. You get a very realistic, like vanilla extract. You get a lot of woodiness, some sandalwood. I believe oud's in here, but it's nowhere near animalic. It's not fecal. It's just woody, like the bark of wood. It's resinous. You have some myrrh. You have some dates in here, some dried fruits. This is an absolutely beautiful fragrance. It's expensive as a mug, but for something that's closeness, is not a loud fragrance. It's going to draw somebody in. Really comforting, something that you can. I would wear this to bed. This is a very nice scent for me. Women, again, unisex. You can wear this on the first date. All of these you can wear on the first date. For me, I just personally wouldn't. But honorable mention number 1 is from the House of Royal Crown. That's Sultan. Honorable mention number 2 is going to be 2 fragrances, and I'll get to why both these fragrances are named the same. That's going to be Love Don't Be Shy Extreme, and it's going to be Unique Luxuries Istanbul. Now, these fragrances smell the same. I had Istanbul first. I did a full review on it. Check it out. That's before I ever owned Love. Once I eventually bought the original Love, and then I have Love Extreme, this smells just like Love with slightly different nuances and differences. This doesn't have, between these two, doesn't have a floral component to it, and it doesn't have that creamy marshmallow texture to the composition. What this has is that toffee, almost burnt sugary texture to the fragrance. Both can be described as smelling almost like a fruity pebble. But if people have a problem with this not being extreme, like not performing extreme, you need to get this. This has zero performance issues. It will push out. It will leave a scent trail. And pound for pound, bang for the buck, this is like $275 for a 50 ml. That's just like $200, $220 for 800 ml. Do the math. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. But both of these pretty much smell very similar with slightly different nuances. So honorable mention number 2 is Unique Luxury's Istanbul and Kilian's Love Don't Be Shy Extreme. At number 10 is going to be a fragrance that if you're going to talk about delicious and irresistible fragrances, you have to mention this fragrance in the list. And that comes from the house of Tom Ford, and that's Noir Extreme. Now, this fragrance is one fragrance I personally would wear on a first date. It's so cozy, it's comforting. You have a floral component, you have some spices, I believe nutmeg, saffrons in here, some rose, maybe some jasmine. But the really good note is this Indian dessert, which is called kulfi. I believe is how it's pronounced. If I'm wrong, you can correct me down below. I don't know everything, but it's very cozy. People say they don't really get the best performance out of this. It's not a loud fragrance, but I don't think it's meant to be loud. I get about 7-8 hours on this, me personally. It's not going to push out, leaves a pretty good scent trail, but this is a fragrance that's going to draw the person in. So if you haven't checked this fragrance out, you can find it at most Macy's and stuff. Check it out, sample it, see if it works for you. I'm telling you, I absolutely love this fragrance. Coming in at number 10 is Tom Ford Noir Extreme. Coming in at number 9 is a fragrance that also has to be on the list. That's from the house of Byron Parfums, and that's Mula Mula. This fragrance is delicious. Performance, it's going to push, it's going to work. I'm getting 8+ hours on skin on this. This is a good one. I would describe it as peachy caramel, and that's throughout the life of the fragrances. A lot of peach, caramel, I believe vanilla's in here, some benzoin, you get some oud, I believe ginger, something in saffron. It's like a spicy element also to the fragrance. Overall, this is a delicious fragrance. Would I reach for it on a first date? It depends. It depends on kind of where I'm going. If I'm going out during the winter and I'm not on a date, I'm going out, but I'm going solo and I might be looking to get a number or two or a woman to pick up, I might actually wear this because this is a compliment magnet. Women, if you're wearing this and you pass by me, I'm turning my head. I'm telling you now, I'm going to turn my head and look. You smell absolutely amazing. A great unisex scent coming in at number 9 is Byron Parfums Mula Mula. Coming in at number 8 is a fragrance I absolutely love. This comes from the house of Penhaligons, and this is Clandestine Clara. Now, this is a woman's marketed fragrance. Men, do not be afraid to try this out. I had a woman tell me this is a fragrance who you just want to be closer to you, because I wore this before the pandemic and I had a few women I know smell it and they was like, this, I just want to smell you. I just want to cuddle up with you is what they got. You get some cinnamon in here. You get rum. You get this vanillic amber, some woody notes. I believe patchouli's in here and some woody nuances. It's a fairly linear scent, so if you're looking for like, I want something complex, if you're that person, this ain't gonna be for you. It's simplistic. But if you just want to smell good, smell inviting, smell delicious, this is a winner. I would describe this, if you ever had bamboo rum, if you haven't had it, you should try it. It was absolutely fantastic rum. This reminds me of bamboo rum. Sweet, cinnamony, spicy, absolutely gorgeous. I love this scent. Coming in at number 8 is Clandestine Clara from Penhaligon's. Coming in at number 7 comes from the house of Mancera, and that's Choco Violette. Now, I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I would think that stands for chocolate and violet, and that's kind of what you get. This I would describe is nutty dark chocolate, because hazelnuts in here with the dark chocolate gives it a like almost an M&M's peanut nuttiness to it. The vanilla in here, the Madagascar vanilla, I believe, just makes it a little bit more creamy, just smooths out that chocolate fragrance. And the violet and the musk just makes this, to be honest, more wearable. I prefer this over chocolate greedy. To me, Montage's chocolate greedy is really a Tonka fragrance. It's like chocolate in the first half, and then it just goes full-blown Tonka throughout the life of the fragrance. That's not a bad thing, but if you want a chocolate fragrance, I think this is probably Mancera's best chocolate fragrance in my personal opinion. And that's number 7, Choco Violette. Coming in at number 6 is a fragrance I have discussed a lot, actually. And this is a fragrance I absolutely love. This comes from the house of Kilian, and this is Noir Aphrodisiaque. Now, if people just watching videos, they don't know what this is because they've never seen a bottle like this. This is their refill bottles. If you're not familiar with the house of Kilian, all of their bottles are refills, so you don't have to buy this beautiful, gorgeous presentation. All you do is screw off the top. You screw this on, it'll dump the contents of this inside your bottle, and there you have it. It's refill. I think all fragrances, and you probably save about $100 or $120 in comparison to actually buying a bottle. So go on Amazon, buy you 10 ml decants, put that in there you have it, unless you care about presentation. Anyway, what you get here is a spicy, powdery chocolate scent, period. It's fairly linear, but it's a beautiful scent. And like most Kilians are really airy, they're not necessarily overly dense. This fragrance represents that to a T. This is the kind of fragrance, again, I would wear out. I would wear dressed up. I would wear to a black tie, because the iris in here, along with the almost this chocolatey cocoa powder, makes this extremely elegant, and it's a little spicy with the cinnamon. Overall, great fragrance. My favorite chocolate fragrance from Kilian, actually, and that's Noir Aphrodisiaque. Coming in at number 5 is a layered fragrance combination. What is layering? Layering is when you take one fragrance and you put on top of another fragrance. That's one way to do it. Or you can wear one fragrance on, like, let's say around your neck, and wear the other fragrance on your arm. That way, when people smell you in the air, it'll be a layered composition surrounded like a scent cloud. Anyway, that's pretty much layering, and this layer combination comes from the house of Alexandria Fragrances. If you're not familiar with Alexandria Fragrances, it is a clone house. It is a house where they try to make creations close to expensive niche fragrances, as well as some discontinued fragrances, and they also have some original compositions they have of their own. That's pretty much what it is. If you're not familiar with a clone house, just affordable way to capture the essence of an expensive fragrance. And that's Fructus versions, their clone of Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, and their original creation, Cacao Dreams. What is this? This is a cherry almondy liqueur kind of fragrance. Extremely romantic, a great fragrance by itself. When you add a Tootsie Roll on top of that, you get this cherry, chocolatey liqueur fragrance is what you get out of it. I enjoy the combination. I was putting like 2-to-1, I believe is what I was doing on this. This is just overall a great fragrance to layer. You can layer this with a lot of different winter fragrances, from chocolates to vanillas. Just an outstanding scent. So that's coming in number 5. It's Fructus versions and Cacao Dreams layered. Coming in number 4 is a fragrance that has made like my last 2 lists that I put out, for good reason. I think it's the best from that house. I like it better than Spiritualese Double Vanille, and I kind of like it better than Tonka Imperial. That's just my taste. That's how I feel about it. That comes from the house of Guerlain, and that's Gourmand Conquin. What is this fragrance? If this is your first time hearing me talk about this fragrance, what you get is a nice rose. Not too jammy, but a little fruity. That fruity nuance is probably coming from the rum accord that's in there, because whenever you got rum, you get that sugar cane, some fruits, some woodiness, and you get that inside the rum accord along with the rose, creating this almost jammy but not overly jammy composition. That rum also combined, the booziness of the rum combined with the vanilla gives you this boozy, almost vanillic nature to the composition, like Spiritually's Double Vanille. But then you add the cacao and chocolate on top of it. With some cinnamon, sprinkle that little bit of cinnamon on top. Absolutely delicious. So you're basically getting this boozy, chocolate, gourmand fragrance. And the rose adds some elegance, sophistication, and sensuality to the composition. I absolutely love this fragrance. So coming in number 4 is Guerlain Gourmand Conquin. Coming in number 3, 3 could easily be 2. 2 can be 3. Both are interchangeable depending on my moods. This is coming from the house of Jousset Parfums, and this is Gourmand Boncourt. Now, this is a gourmand fragrance to die for. It's lactonic, so it's really milky up top. You get this milky cherried almonds, because I'm getting the fruitiness, which isn't listed. No fruits listed in the notes, in the note breakdown. I'm also getting this spiciness, like some cinnamon, that's also not listed. Maybe some saffron or cinnamon is what I'm getting up top that's not listed in here. I'm getting this fruity, milky, almond, caramelic kind of nuance in the opening that lasts for about 3 hours. After about the 3-hour mark, some of that tones down. Then it becomes this chocolatey, almond, woody, leathery scent. Now, if I was going to describe this, I would almost say, think of the opening. For the first 3 hours, you're getting almost like Xerjoff Italica. And then for like the remaining of the fragrance, like 4 hours till the end, because I'm getting about 8 hours on this, 8+ hours, you're getting like Black Phantom with no rum and no coffee. So this chocolatey, woody, leathery kind of thing. A gorgeous gourmand scent, extremely comforting, absolutely beautiful to die for, and deliciously irresistible. That's coming from the house of Jousset Parfums, and this is Gourmand Boncourt. Coming in number 2 is most people's gourmand grail of a fragrance. This comes from the house of Xerjoff, and that's Xerjoff Italica. Now, they changed the bottle up. It's no longer velvet, and they probably changed it because the velvet bottles actually sucked a little. Not because they didn't look good on pictures, but if you got them wet, they were damaged. And 2, they leaked a lot. A lot of people got bottles in Facebook groups, and half their fragrance was gone because it leaked around the top. Nevertheless, this isn't reformulated. It's the same fragrance inside. I've tested both. So, with that being said, what you get here, how would I describe it? It starts off, it's very lactonic. It's spicy, and that's from the saffron. There's also this almost cherried fruitiness, almondy, berry-like quality to the composition that sets in the background, and that's probably coming from the almonds. So you get this cherried almond, saffron, caramelic, vanillic fragrance. And how I would describe this is a warm, almondy sugar cookie. Is how I would describe this composition. Now, if you don't want to pay the money for this, because this is expensive, you can get this fragrance. I did a review on Italian Caramel. This, in essence, is this. This is extremely close. I mean, extremely. Are there different nuances in the 2? Yes, this doesn't have that really good saffron kick up top, and it's missing that cherry almond aspect of the fragrance that this has. But the essence of the fragrance, the caramelic sugar cookie kind of feel, you're going to get in this clone. But if you are anti-clone, I understand why you would buy this. If you're not anti-clone and you have this, you don't really need to spend your money on this. And that's just me being honest with you. And I spent my money on it. So take it for what it is. Number 2 is Italica and Italian Caramel from Alexandria Fragrances. Coming in at number 1, my favorite gourmand within my fragrance. This, if you looked in the dictionary and said gourmand fragrances, this would be the epitome of gourmand. I'm gonna try to discuss this fragrance without doing an overall long review. This needs to have its own review to do it justice. This is from the house of Jousset Parfums, and this is Gourmand Boncoeur Special Edition. So you're going to see the special edition right there, and it's a sealed essence exclusive. It says that. So it's different from the original, which doesn't have the special edition. You can have this, and they're nowhere near redundant, so you know. How would I describe this? A Reese's peanut butter cup. That's the best way. It's a little spicy, has that cinnamon nature to it. Chocolate, peanut butter, this biscuit accord, which makes it a little bready, vanilla, caramel, some smoky nuances. This performs like a champ. Over 10 hours I'm getting on this. Projection. Oh my God. I put this on in my fragrance room, away from everybody. One spray on the back of my hand when I first got it. I walked to the threshold of the door. My lady was 7 feet at least away from me. The first thing out of her mouth, soon as I got to the threshold, the door opened up and said, "Did you just spray some chocolate on yourself?" 7 feet away. It gets better. I said, "Yeah, come smell it." I had her smell it. I walked away from her. I was in the living room playing video games. About a half an hour later, I asked, I said, about 20 minutes, half an hour later, I said, "Hey, you still smell me in there?" She said, "Yes, I do." This will leave a trail. This is not work safe. This is a date or night fragrance, period. Use with caution. I'm not discussing it no more. I've already went 2 minutes discussing this fragrance. Going to draw up the video. It's going to get its own review. Wait for it. I'll give it to you. It's my favorite chocolate fragrance and my favorite gourmand within my collection, period, hands down. That's Gourmand Boncoeur Special Edition by Jousset Parfums. So that was my favorite delicious and irresistible fragrances within my collection. I could have easily, if you watch me and know me, I have a lot of gourmand fragrances. I love gourmand fragrances. I could have easily did a top 50 or 40. I'm not going to do that. So I gave you a good mixture. I tried to give you a good mixture of some stuff that I had, but also keeping the integrity of what I like the most, if that makes any sense. These fragrances are fragrances I love. I know I'm going to have one person. You only put them on there because they're expensive. The logic behind that doesn't add up, because the Jousset Parfums, the original one, is $95 for 50 ml. The special edition is $125 for 50 ml, which is better, in my opinion, than Italica at almost $325. And better than Guerlain, which is at about, what, $260. So it's not about price to me. And then my even honorable mention is the most expensive fragrance within my collection. That's like a $500 bottle. So do the math. It doesn't add up. This is just what I like. If you don't have these fragrances and you have other gourmand fragrances, don't mean my fragrance collection is better than yours. I'm just sharing my experience. I'm not the end all, the be all. This is my experience with the fragrances I own. So with that being said, I'm going to leave you the way I greeted you. And that's in the universal language of peace.